with this, I mean that, for example, you cannot use some kind of topics with kids because they haven't really experienced something, I don't know, with a job or something like that. And the second one is always take in consideration a student's previous knowledge. And I think that this one can relate with the first one. And the next one is to give positive feedback to students while they are performing to enhance their performance. And for example, saying them that after they talk, that, oh, that was a good idea, and thanks for commenting or something like that. And keep in mind students' affective factors, such as emotions, that the thing that my classmates have said about that they feel like overwhelmed or stressed when they have to speak, and try to engage students with interest topics. I think that that is the most common one. And yes, I think that this is basically my advice.
Very good. Thank you so much. What I found very useful is the positive feedback. Yes. Giving this positive feedback to the students can make them feel like they are listened, or that they can be involved in more in your classes, which is very important. And I consider the positive feedback as a tool that is the most useful to make feel students better, right? Remember that, yes, we have this factor that are the emotions. Some students are tired, stressed, worried, nervous, and all of this can affect the students well in the classroom. So let's try to make activities that they can feel safe, that they can feel that they can enjoy your classes, that they can laugh about it, that they can make mistakes and it's not bad, right? So let's try to change that mind to the students. Thank you, Eugenio. Very
You're
good.
welcome.
Okay, Jesus, here, let me, I put here what you wrote.
Oh, yes. Well, I wrote about being proactive. So that means like you have to have the right approach and behavior to connect with your students. And in any case, you have to be aware of the student needs and expectations in your class. And I learned that because it's important to like create rapport with the students and make them feel like themselves, make them feel comfortable enough to produce the language, make them feel like safe when they speak. Also, I would like to share that uh, using emotion and using the right topics for them to talk is very important because they can feel more uh, aware of the context and yeah, that's it. I mean, I think creating report and being an active teacher that tries to connect with the students and have the appropriate topic, it would be a good thing.
Thank you, Jesus. One thing that you mentioned, the expectations. Remember that some students have these expectations about maybe previous English classes. So if that student had a different teacher, like very explicit, not creating dynamic activities, not caring about the learning process of that student, so, well, that student might have those expectations. So we are here to change that, right? We are here. That's our objective, to make them feel safe, to make them feel that, well, learning English is not boring or it is not hard, right? Of course, we have this part that we need to teach them a second language, but also it's their part to actually studying outside the classroom, to take part into the classroom and into the activities. Because, well, we might have some students that they are just listening to the information, but they are not willing to cooperate with you. So it's both parts, the teacher and the students working together, right? Very good. Thank you, Jesus. Okay, and I think, yes, that will be it for your participation. So now let's continue with my presentation. I appreciate your experiences. I appreciate that you were willing to cooperate with me. I agree. I'm really glad for your participation. So now I'm going to tell you what I noticed from your lesson plans, from your grammar lesson plans. If you would like to interrupt me, if you have any questions, go ahead. Feel free to do it. So the first thing that I noticed was the supportive language. I noticed that some of you put the supported language as something connecting with the topic. Remember that this supportive language had to be very suitable for the content, right? Remember that this is it could be like an extension, a helpful tool for students to communicate something, right? So if it's a beginner level, it's very important to use it. Also, I noticed that some of you didn't write the supportive language here in this space, that is the specific phrases, but you put their supportive language here, or you mention the supportive language in your lesson plan. Just to consider that, remember, if you say that you are going to use a supportive language, don't forget to write here in the specific phrases, right? Just that, just for me to know, right? Another thing is the activities. You always have to ask this for yourself. Are my students prepared for this activity? Is the level suitable for this activity, right? For example, if you have a beginner level, I noticed that some of you included a memory game, for example, but you can say that the memory game is very easy, or that the memory game is very boring, very traditional, right? Very basic. And well, you can change that. For example, you can put the memory game with the picture and the definition, or the word, the vocabulary word with a definition of the word, and they have to match, or they have to find the word with the definition. Or you can put the vocabulary word, or it could be a verb with a synonym, right? So try to change that. Sometimes when we apply the memory games, we just put the picture and the word. But you can consider this, you can adapt the memory game with another type of activity. You can put the definition with the picture, or the word with a synonym. So try to make it different, right? Try to adapt those activities. Another observation is the speaking skill. Let's consider that you are teaching speaking, right? So the percentage of speaking should be high. So for example, if they have to create a story and they have to write it, consider how can you adapt it. Instead of writing something, how can you adapt that to put it in a speaking activity? Well, maybe they can have a picture and they can discuss with their classmates. Or they can create a story by just putting them in a circle and just by listening and speaking, right? So consider, yes, you can involve the writing in your activities. Yes, you can do it, but maybe after writing, they need to discuss, right? So the speaking skill should be there always in the whole lesson, okay? It doesn't mean that, oh, so then teacher, they don't have to put, I mean, can I put a fill in the blanks? Yes, you can do it. You can put a fill in the blanks activity. You can put to write a story. But after that, after doing that activity, how can you include the speaking? Okay, how can you connect the skill there that is speaking? Another observation that I noticed during your lesson plans is the spelling, okay? Be careful, proofread your lesson plan. I know that maybe you can create your lesson plans at 2 a.m. in the morning. I know, I have done that when I was a student. But proofread your lesson plan. If you don't want to read it again because you are tired, you can ask, for example, Eugenio, can you read my lesson? Just a proofread, just to see if I don't have spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes there. Just check that, okay? Just for a future reference, if you want to share your lesson plan, well, be careful for the spelling mistakes, right? Just to consider that. Another observation is that the encounter, remember that the encounter is to engage the students so they are interested, but also the encounter is a good opportunity to introduce the new information. So students have two options. If they are going to be engaged with your lesson, or they are going to be bored during the whole lesson plan. So the encounter is the most important part. All of the stages are important, right? All of them have a purpose, but the encounter is when the students are meeting for the first time the information. But how can you put them in an engaging way, right? Don't start your class by just explaining the activity. Try to engage your students. Try to tell them a story. That I always see some lesson plans that you always telling a story, which is okay, which is perfect. Try to put a video there. Try to put a song so they can discuss about it, so they can start thinking about the topic. Okay, so this is opportunity for you to bring out the whole material that you want, to bring out your creative side. Okay. Another observation is the context. Remember that, yes, we have mentioned in the context during this virtual session, and the context should be related with activities that you are putting in your lesson plan. Okay, for example, if my context is in a restaurant, imagine that. So the fluency, I can say that my students are going to order food in Burger King, for example. Okay, so this is my fluency, my objective. So I can think about from the internalized from the encounter to internalize. How can I prepare my students in these stages to reach the fluency that is ordering food? What can I do? How can I prepare my students from the previous stages? What supportive language can I use? What vocabulary words can I use? Maybe what grammar structure can I include in order for them to understand how to order food? Okay, so try to think about the context, but also to the activities that they are going to be connected. All of it has to be connected. Another thing is that when I was reading your lesson plans, some of you explained me the material, but be specific with your explanation. Sometimes I don't understand what you're trying to say. This is the thing. When I read your lesson plans, I am going to visualize the whole lesson, and I can see Leslie, I can see Paulina there in front of the classroom working, but also I need some more details. For example, if you are going to tell me that you are going to tell a story to the students, trying to include the story so I can know what language you are using, so I can give you more feedback. Or for example, if you are telling me, I'm going to ask some questions, well, include the questions so I can know more and to see if it's going to be helpful for the student, right? Just for you to know. And well, remember that another one is the objective, okay? Ask yourself this question every time that you're going to write an objective. What are my students going to do in the fluency stage? Okay, why? Because remember that in the fluency stage, it is the objective, okay? The final stage is the most important. The students are actually producing the language. So what are going to do in the fluency? Are they going to discuss, to identify, to compare, to describe? Okay, once that you know what are you going to do in the fluency stage, then you can write your objective. One suggestion that I can tell you is that try to think of your lesson plan from the fluency to the encounter. It is called the backwards planning. I know that maybe some of you already know this. The backwards planning means that you can start thinking about the fluency, and then you can go to from the internalized, you can start planning the remembering. So you're backward planning. And once that you have the fluency, that is your objective, you can write your objective. Some of you have another suggestion that you can start by writing your objective down. It's okay. I mean, we can plan differently, but my recommendation is to think about your fluency. Once that you know your fluency activity, you can write your objective because you know what you're going to do. And here, well, just to remember you, by the end of the lesson, the students will be able to use here, for example, if you are going to teach them grammar, well, what grammar topic, be specific. 2, and here we put the Bloom's taxonomy action verb, that is here the F, that is the fluency. What verb from the fluency? Discuss, identify, compare. What are they going to do here? In what communicative activity in the fluency stage? As you can see, the fluency stage is very connected with your main objective. And well, I don't know if you have any questions here. Or maybe you say, teacher, I already knew this. It's easier. I will be glad to hear that. If you have any problems, this is an opportunity for you to discuss. Maybe you have a problem in one stage or one thing that I mentioned.
Teacher, I have a question, but it's for, well, it's kind of the same, I think, of the lesson plan of grammar.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are supposed to do only the first 2 stages, right? And all the squares, like the assessment and all of those things. So since we are only doing the first 2 activities, we must write an objective, or we should wait till we finish it?
For example, if you are telling me, for example, teacher, you know what? I'm not going to write the objective now because I don't know how is my lesson plan going to be working with the activities. It's okay. If you don't want to put the objective at first, it's okay. But you try to analyze your lesson and try to think about, it's just a skeleton. If at the end, for example, if the beginning you tell me, teacher, this is the objective, but maybe it's going to change, it's okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. That is my suggestion, Natalia.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Una disculpa. Let me check if I have some questions here in the chat. It's okay, Selena, don't worry. Here we're recording the session, just in case that some of you would like to see it. Another thing, guys, is everything clear?
Teacher,
Yes, Eugenio.
should we upload a corrected lesson plan? I mean, with the feedback that you gave us?
Yes. Remember that, well, for speaking, you create your lesson plan. The last lesson plan that you created was teaching grammar in speaking. Mm-hmm. You already have the feedback there. In case that you already checked your feedback, I open now another space for you to upload the correction. Exactly. Thank you, Eugenio. Jesus, yes, you want to ask something? Yes, here, let me show you the next assignments. Yes, with corrections, exactly. Let me show you here. First of all, we have our next virtual session. It's going to be next Friday, June 12th. Here, this is going to be an online assignment. It means that you are going to think about an activity that you say, this is my favorite speaking activity, okay? And we're going to share it the next virtual session. You're going to describe the activity. It's going to be like a journal activity, because you're going to describe the activity. You can say that this activity is going to be for beginners or for advanced level or for intermediate, you're going to choose. And you can include pictures or examples in how to apply that activity in your classroom. Okay? So next virtual session, we're going to share everyone. So
Teacher?
Yes.
So we have to upload the first like 2 activities, like the encounter and the clarify, or?
Okay, Jesus, that activity is for teaching grammar. Okay, the other subject. Yes,
Okay.
no se me confundan.
Okay, sorry.
Yes, don't worry.
It's because I see you in the 2 subjects.
I know. That's why it's very difficult to differentiate. It's the same. I mean, the same topics. Okay. So remember, for next virtual session, just think about one speaking activity that you like the most, that you enjoy, and you're going to describe it. You can do it in a PowerPoint presentation or in a Word document. It's your choice, and we present it. And yes, as Eugenio mentioned, yes, we have the corrections. Remember that what I do is to grade your first one, and this is the correction, the last one, and I can have the general grade for that lesson plan. Okay, so feedback is already there. So try to check it, try to read my observations. If you have any questions about my observations, please don't hesitate to ask me. Okay, so if you don't understand what I wrote there, just tell me, teacher, I didn't understand this observation. Can you explain me more? I will, yes? Okay, so, well, that will be the assignments. The grammar correction, well, you have till June 13th to upload it. Okay, and well, as I mentioned before, we are in the final stages. I mean, we're always, I mean, we're almost finishing. So try to do your best. And remember, if you have any problems by uploading an assignment, by maybe you didn't understand something related to the topics, go ahead, ask me. Okay, I'm willing to help you. All right. Very good. So if you don't have any questions related to these assignments or to the topics, well, we can leave the session. Thank you very much to be here with me. Thank you, Ale, Andy, Betty, Eugenio, Jesus, Karime, Leslie, Natalia, Paulina. Thank you very much.
Teacher,
Yes.